I'm going to demonstrate the bound seam. It's like the Hong Kong seam. You may have done this in your Fashion 10 class or in another beginning sewing class, but basically first thing we're going to do is sew together two 6x3 rectangles. Start it out as a 6-inch square, cut it in half, and then sew a 1-inch seam. And this is going to replicate the back of a coat or someplace where you might want this type of a finished seam where there's no lining. Okay, now I'm going to go to the bias binding. You're to use your single fold bias to finish these edges. And all you do is you place the edge of the seam inside the single fold, and you're going to just edge stitch that into place. So it's going to look like the picture. Now, if for some reason you don't have single fold, you only have the double fold, you can use that and it will be acceptable. So for now, I'm going to encase that right in this little skinny piece of bias. One side. And I'm going to show you a tool that I just bought because I only bought the double fold bias. This tool is available at Joann's, and it is a bias folder. This was in order to make 1/2-inch finished single fold bias just like this. What I did was I took my double fold bias and cut it in half, and then what you can do is place the 1-inch bias into the wide part of this tool. Get it here by the light. And then it starts to feed in, and then you're going to need to get a straight pin to feed it all the way through. And this can be done with any bias strip that you cut, not necessarily the package type, any fabric bias that you cut. And when it comes out the other end, you can see that it's, pull it back a little bit, that it's creating folds on either side of the bias. So I'm going to pull this through. You can iron it as it comes through on an ironing board or finger press it, whichever you want to do. I'm just using a small piece, so I'm going to finger press while we have this video going. And after that, I'm going to fold that in half. And that's going to create the narrow bias. Okay, and I can use the edge of the table to also press this in. Okay, now I'm ready to do the other side. Encase that edge right in there. All right, and these tools come in different widths. So if you want a wider bias, you buy a larger tool. They're about $5 a piece at Joann's, and you can make your own bias that way. All right, so that's how that's done. And then finish this edge. This is really a tailoring technique for more expensive coats and jackets that don't have linings. Okay, now after you've finished your sample, if you're doing this at home, I think some of you have already been doing this, but if you don't have the overlock and you want to finish the edges of your sample, you can take a zigzag stitch on your machine and simply finish your edges that way to get a nice presentation for your notebook. Okay, so that's all that is. Just one other way to finish off your samples. All right, thanks.